There's something chilling about an empty car by the river. The way the headlights cut through the darkness. The soft hum of an engine left running. The driver's door swung wide open, like someone stepped out and never came back. Like they were taken. That's how they found Lena Carter's car. 17 years old. A life ahead of her. Dreams too big for this small town. She had just finished her shift at Miller's Diner. She was supposed to go home. She never made it. At first, no one panicked. Lena was responsible, independent. Maybe she stopped to clear her head. Maybe she was with a friend. But then an hour passed. Then 2. Her phone went straight to voicemail. By morning, her family knew. Something was wrong. Very, very wrong. People don't just vanish. Not like this. She didn't leave a note, didn't pack a bag. One moment, she was driving home. The next, she wasn't. And here's the part that will keep you up at night. No one saw anything. No one heard a scream. It was like the world swallowed her whole. You'd think when a teenage girl disappears, alarms go off. The town stops. The world notices. But for Lena, it took time. Too much time. And by the time they started looking, she was already gone. So, what happened? Who was the last person to see her? And the question no one wanted to ask, was Lena Carter ever meant to be found? This is the story of a girl who should have made it home. A girl who never got the chance. Lena Carter was gone. And in the beginning, no one seemed to care. The police shrugged it off, because of course they did. Teenagers leave all the time, they said. She'll be back. But she wasn't. Days passed, then weeks. No calls, no sightings, no Lena. Her parents pleaded with the police, voices raw from screaming, from begging. But their words fell on deaf ears. Another missing girl in a quiet town. Another case filed under runaway. But that's the thing about assumptions. They can be dead wrong. Because Lena Carter didn't run away. And soon, the town would realize that she was never coming back. 2 weeks after Lena vanished, a couple of kids were playing near the old abandoned church on the outskirts of town. A place no one really went anymore, except to dare each other to step inside, to test their courage against the ghosts people swore still lingered there. One of them kicked at something buried in the dirt. Something small. Something black and shattered. Lena's phone. Cracked screen. Dead battery. No messages. Just silence. Her parents clung to the discovery like a lifeline. But when they rushed to the police, desperate for answers, they were met with indifference. Could have been dropped there any time, an officer muttered. Doesn't prove anything. But it did. It proved Lena wasn't just gone. She was taken. Because here's the part that doesn't make sense. Lena Carter's job was across town. Her car was found near the river. She had no reason to be anywhere near that church, unless someone brought her there. The abandoned church had been a fixture in town for decades. Broken windows, rotting pews, the smell of dust and decay clinging to its walls. People whispered about it, said it had a history, said bad things happened there. And now Lena's phone had turned up in its shadow. Her parents begged the police to search the area, check inside, look for anything that could tell them what happened. It took 3 more days before the police finally agreed. And what they found, it changed everything. Inside the church, the dust was thick, untouched for years. But in the far corner, near the pulpit, there were footprints, fresh ones. Someone had been there. And when the officers pushed open the rusted door leading to the basement, a wave of damp, sour air rushed up to meet them. A single light bulb flickered overhead. And then they saw it. A mattress. Old, stained, tucked against the wall, hidden from view. Next to it, a length of rope, and in the dirt nearby, half buried beneath the dust, A single torn strip of fabric, red and white, the same colors Lena was last seen wearing. It wasn't just a runaway case anymore, not a teenager acting out. This was something darker, something planned. The police couldn't ignore it now, not when the town was watching. Detectives were finally assigned to the case. News stations picked up the story. The pressure was on. But here's the thing about time. The more of it you lose, the harder it is to get answers. And Lena Carter had already been missing for 3 weeks. Where was she? Was she still alive? And the question that no one wanted to ask but couldn't stop thinking. Had she ever left that church at all? Police scoured the area looking for any sign of Lena. Search dogs, helicopters, flyers on every telephone pole. But it was like she had vanished into thin air. No leads, no witnesses, no answers. And then, the next break in the case came from a person no one expected. A man, a local, someone who had driven past the church that night, someone who had seen something terrifying. And when he finally came forward, the entire town realized Lena Carter's disappearance was only the beginning. Maplewood is the kind of town where people smile at you on the street, where neighbors chat over white picket fences, where nothing bad ever happens. Or at least, that's what they tell themselves. Because Maplewood has secrets, dark ones, and the deeper you dig, the worse they get. It started as whispers, stories passed from parent to child, from old-timers at the diner to the next generation. A girl who vanished in 1996, never found. A boy who left his bike outside a gas station in 2008 and was never seen again. A mother who swore she heard her daughter's voice inside her house weeks after she went missing. But those were just stories, right? Because bad things don't happen in small towns. Not in Maplewood. But the people who lived here long enough, they knew better. They knew that every few years, someone disappeared. And now, it was Lena Carter. 3 weeks after Lena vanished, her best friend Rachel came forward. She hadn't spoken up before, maybe out of fear, maybe because she thought it didn't matter. But now she couldn't stay quiet, because Lena had told her something terrifying. "I think someone's following me." That's what she had said, weeks before she disappeared. Rachel brushed it off at first. They were teenagers. Paranoia was part of the package. But Lena wasn't the type to make things up. And now, with no sign of her, Rachel couldn't shake the feeling that Lena knew something was going to happen. That maybe she had seen her own fate coming. With new pressure on the investigation, the police went back to where Lena was last seen. The diner where she worked. Security footage was pulled. At first, nothing seemed out of place. Lena at the register. Lena laughing with a co-worker. Lena grabbing her coat at the end of her shift. And then, a shadow, lurking just outside the parking lot. A dark figure standing by the streetlight, unmoving, watching. They never stepped forward, never made a move. They just waited. And when Lena left that night, when she walked to her car alone, the figure disappeared from the frame. Gone. Just like her. The discovery sent shockwaves through Maplewood. For the first time, people were afraid. Because if Lena had been followed, if someone had been watching her for weeks, that meant this wasn't random. This was planned. And whoever took Lena, they were still out there, watching, waiting, maybe even for their next victim. The deeper investigators looked, the more unsettling things became. Because Lena wasn't the first girl to go missing near that diner. 10 years earlier, a waitress named Sarah Mills disappeared after her shift. Her car was found 2 miles away, engine running, driver's side door open, just like Lena's. Sarah was never found. And now, history was repeating itself. The old stories weren't just stories. They were warnings. Warnings the town ignored. And as detectives started pulling records, they found something even worse. Over the last 30 years, 7 people had vanished under eerily similar circumstances. Same locations, same patterns, and every single one of them gone, without a trace. For years, Maplewood buried the past, pretended it wasn't real. But now, the past was clawing its way back, demanding to be seen, because whatever had been happening in this town, whoever had been taking people, they never stopped. And Lena Carter was just the latest victim. The real question wasn't just who took her. It was, how many more were there? And worse, would she be the last? The woods outside Maplewood stretch for miles, dense, silent, the kind of place that swallows sound, that makes you feel like you're being watched, even when you're alone. And on a cold, grey morning, a hiker found something he was never supposed to see. It started with a smell, rotting, heavy, the kind that sticks to the back of your throat. At first, he thought it was an animal, something that hadn't survived the winter. But then he saw it, the dirt, disturbed, uneven, like someone had tried to cover something up, and sticking out from the ground, a hand. By the time the police got there, the hiker was pale, shaking. He kept mumbling the same thing over and over. "It's a body. Oh God, it's a body." Detectives moved quickly, taped off the area, brought in forensic teams. They started digging, and what they found made Maplewood's blood run cold. It wasn't Lena Carter. It was someone else. 5 years ago, Hannah Whitmore left her house to walk to a friend's place. She never made it. Posters went up, searches were held, but nothing was ever found. Until now. Because here, in the middle of the woods, buried in a shallow grave, was Hannah, still wearing the clothes she disappeared in, her skull fractured, her fingers broken, like she had fought for her life, and lost. The moment the coroner confirmed the body, something shifted, because Lena wasn't the first, and now they had proof that whoever took her had done this before. This wasn't a one-time crime, it was a pattern, and it had been going on for years. Detectives started pulling old files, rereading statements, looking for connections between Lena and Hannah. But here's what was terrifying. There weren't any. Different schools, different friend groups, different lives. The only thing they had in common. They were both young, both taken, and both left behind by a town that had refused to see what was right in front of them. One girl, 5 years ago. Another, 10 years before that. Another before that. And as investigators started mapping it out, a chilling realization hit them. Every 5 to 6 years, like clockwork, someone went missing. Always a girl, always alone, always at night. And when the pattern was complete, the question became horrifyingly clear. If they had found Hannah 5 years later, what would they find in another 5 years? And more urgently, was Lena still out there, or was it already too late? Maplewood was no longer just looking for Lena Carter. They were looking for a predator, a ghost that had lived among them for decades, someone who had perfected the art of making girls disappear. And if they didn't find them soon, it wouldn't be long before another girl vanished. And this time, there might not even be a body to find. The woods had already given up one secret. But as investigators combed through the shallow grave, they found something even more disturbing. Something that didn't belong to Hannah Whitmore at all. It belonged to Lena Carter. It was small, delicate. A silver chain with a tiny heart-shaped pendant. And inside, a name scratched and faded from years of wear. Lena. It was hers. Her parents confirmed it immediately. She never took it off. It was a birthday gift from her mother, which meant, at some point, Lena had been here. And worse, the killer wanted them to know it. Then, as investigators carefully removed the rest of the dirt, they found something else. tucked into Hannah's hand, a slip of paper, fragile, stained, the ink barely visible. But the words, those were clear. You never should have looked. A message. But for who? Detectives started digging into Lena's final days, her phone records, her emails, every conversation she'd had before she disappeared. Had she seen something? Heard something? Why would the killer leave that message, unless Lena had been onto something before she vanished? And if that was true, had Lena been taken because of what she knew? Then something even more chilling emerged. Lena's best friend, Madison, hesitated before coming forward. She was scared. Her hands shook as she spoke. But finally, she said it. Lena was asking questions. About the old disappearances, about Hannah, about all the girls who went missing before her. She had been researching them, trying to connect the cases. She had gone to the library, looked through old newspapers. She even told Madison she was going to meet someone who had answers. And then she was gone. Lena Carter hadn't been a random victim. She had been a target. She had been digging too deep, asking the wrong questions, and someone, somewhere, had decided to silence her. That was the new question. Hannah had been killed immediately. But Lena, her necklace was left behind, planted there. Her phone had been placed near the church. The message was meant to be found, which meant whoever took her wasn't just hiding. They were watching, and they were letting Maplewood know. They were always one step ahead. The clock was ticking. If Lena was still alive, every second mattered, and authorities were already behind. Then came the break. Security footage. A local man near Lena's abandoned car the night she vanished. His name? Robert Hale, a former police officer, once respected, now disgraced, and now suspect. Hauled him out of his house in the early hours of the morning. Fast. Neighbors watched from their windows as flashing lights painted the street red and blue. Robert didn't resist, didn't fight. But as they locked him in a cell, he muttered just 5 words. "You're too late already." They never got the chance to question him. By sunrise, he was dead. A noose made from a torn bedsheet. Body slumped in the corner of his cell. A quick, clean suicide. Or at least, that's how it looked. But something wasn't right. Robert Hale had no history of suicidal tendencies, no note, no signs of distress. And yet, he was dead before he could talk, before he could reveal what he knew. And just like that, the only suspect was gone. But Lena was still missing, and now the case had taken a turn for the worst. Lena Carter is still missing. No arrests, no closure, just silence. Her name fades from the headlines. The town moves on. But for her family, the nightmare never ends. Buried deep in the police reports, there was something chilling. A note, crumpled in Lena's jacket pocket the night she vanished. 14 words. "I know what happened to the others, and I know who did it." That's it. No details, no names, just a warning. Or maybe a death sentence. Did Lena uncover something she was never supposed to? Did she get too close to a truth that was meant to stay buried? Or worse, did she try to tell someone, and no one listened? Some believe she's gone, another victim, another unsolved case. But others, they're not so sure, because bodies don't just disappear, and secrets, they always find a way to the surface. Somewhere, someone knows what happened to Lena Carter. Maybe they're watching, maybe they're waiting, and maybe, just maybe, she's still out there. The case of Lena Carter is still open. Someone out there knows the truth. If you have any information, it's time to speak up, because secrets don't stay buried forever, and neither should Lena.